Hi, everybody. This is Jim Cornette, pro wrestling legend, and you're listening to the Book in the Territory Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast.
This is the artist formerly known as Daryl Van Horn, James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, and I'm here to let you know I would rather slam my cock in a car door than to miss the dulcet tones of Hard Body Harper, my illegitimate son, on Booking the Territory podcast.
Woo, Messi, this is professional wrestler Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man. Tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss Booking the Territory. Oh, yeah.
This is a one-man gang. You're listening to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast. For today, we are covering part 2 of November the 14th, 1992, WCW Saturday Night on TBS. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on the video. And lastly, type a comment or two with what you liked or didn't like about the episode. It helps the channel grow. It really, really does. Those algorithms like those types of things. And it makes Harper very happy. He's always salty. It might not make him completely unsalty, but it may work a little bit. On that note, let me throw it to Doc. How are you?
I'm doing great. And as we mentioned last week on the show, Harper won't be with us for the second half of this episode because we are making sure that he's in the booth for the Clash. So this is the go-home show for the Clash. So the next time that we get together as a BTT family, because we're family here, we're going to be doing the Clash of the Champions. So Harper isn't with us, but what you can do to carry on his spirit is do what Mike said. Go out to the YouTube. We read every comment. We respond to every comment in our mind, and we're here to listen to your feedback because it's so very important to us and how we handle the show.
That was hilarious.
What?
You read all the feedback.
Well, not only that, but I create an action plan so that we can address each single one of them.
That is exactly what you don't do, because this is... Oh, boy.
Would it be a more truthful statement to say that I have never been to our YouTube channel?
I don't know. Maybe you have.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you do in your free time.
You probably don't want to know.
Okay. All right, Javorsky.
Wow.
Oh, boy. That's nice.
I think he gets a bad rap for that, you know?
Gets a bad rap for what?
Whatever it is he does. What does he do?
I don't want to think about it. It's mentioned too much on this show.
Okay.
But I did tell you we got that question on the Facebook group at one point from Philip. He said, I guess he had been listening for a few years, but the Javorsky thing goes back to probably like late 2015 or so. Or no, it would be 2016. We started in 15. And that was the first time Harper brought up Javorsky on the show, and it turned into, you know, Javorsky watches the worst wrestling possible all over the planet, and he cranks to it. And I had to explain like how that was born, and it just never went away. Javorsky's an idiot, and you know, he appreciates when we call him an idiot on the show.
Well, if you're a new listener, hopefully you can get brought into the BTT family in such a way that you too get called an idiot on the show. One of the best ways to do that is to leave a 5-star review, and we'll read it on the air and call you a moron as well.
Yeah, no 5-star reviews. We're recording this just a couple of days after the last one while we're saying that.
If one of the three of us normal hosts are making fun of one of you, then that means that you've earned a special place where we are. You have earned terms of endearment. How about that?
Oh yeah, if you get made fun of on this show, you've earned a badge of endearment.
Okay.
It still makes you a moron like Javorsky,
well,
but I mean,
everybody. There's plenty of room for morons, right?
Yeah. Well, see, like Brother Dave over in Australia, who we woke up from a coma when Harper was talking about his friend.
I believe the term raised from the dead comes to mind.
Raised from the dead. Now, he's not a moron. He is held in the most highest honor in the BTT
I will tell you,
Hall
and
of
I don't know
Fame.
if I did tell you this. I was at I don't know if you know this, but like suburban white people go to like breweries a lot. They like to go see where the beer is made.
They like going to vineyards too.
Maybe that I'll pass on that. But we were at a local brewery, and there was a collection of people, and we started talking about. Somebody goes, "I heard you have a podcast." I said, "Yeah, we have a podcast that's so powerful we raised the dead." And I told that story, and they were like, they kind of looked at me with their mouths hung open because I live in the suburbs, dude. But whatever. So yeah, we have a guy from Australia. And they're like, "That's amazing." I'm like, "No, that's not even half the story." He came out of a coma because he was listening to our show where our host was talking about his buddy banging a deaf girl and the noises that she made. And when he woke up, that's what he woke up to. And they just kind of looked at me like, "What the fuck are you talking?"
There went the new listener of the week, Matt Wilson. Jesus. Oh, boy.
We're not worried about the new listener. We're worried about all of you who listen on a regular basis and giving you what you deserve and what you expect. So there you go on that.
All right.
You said you actually said you had something you wanted to discuss here, and that's pretty rare because you usually add zero to the mix. So I'm interested to know what you're wanting to talk about this morning.
So what I want to talk about first, the only way you're going to listen to Clash of the Champions 21 that we do with Harper is by going to tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. It's a great way to support the show. Really the best way to support the show, because not only do you support the show, but you get a lot in return. Dark Side of the Ring episodes that we've been doing, all that's on Patreon. So I'm gonna watch
the Clash here in a couple of hours.
The Tales from the Territories episodes we've done, all of the other clashes, all 20 before this next one that's coming up, 21, is on Patreon. All of our WCW pay-per-views, with the exception of Starrcade, because those are on the free feed, are all on Patreon at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Plus, you get the ECW shows, the NWA Power shows with the JV Goon Squad, and you get the World Class shows with Lance and myself, all on Patreon, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Hold on, Doc. And a big-time shout-out to Disrespectfully Classy, Marky Blassie, Mike Childry, Joe Ice, and good old Justin for their generous support on Patreon each and every month and being the largest sponsors of this show. You were about to take a deep breath and interrupt me before I finish saying tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT to get our Clash. What were you about to say?
I was just going to say one of the patron things that you can look forward to if you join will be this year's annual NFL preview show that we do before the NFL season starts. This year, we're going to, I'll be joined by Lance from the World Class show as we make our picks for who's going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Okay, that's not happening, and no one listens to that show, but I don't like hurting you and Half Pint's feelings.
Oh, then I don't have to do it. It's his feelings that get hurt, not mine.
Little fella. He's just going to pick Will Levis and the Titans to win the Super Bowl for the next 16 years. So why are we even doing it anymore?
100%.
All right, Doc. I told you I had something before we got into the show, and I need to bring this up because I think this is very important. I think this is very important from the perspective of the era we're in with Bill Watts and what's been going on lately. And I get this feedback either on YouTube or all forms of social media, whether it's Twitter or Facebook. And I also get it in our inbox and email, bookingtheterritory@gmail.com. And the question or comment, because it's more of a comment that people really send in, is we are told, we give Bill Watts too hard of a time during this era. And the reason being is because he was really brought in to lower cost and cut costs. He was not necessarily brought in to be the creative guy. Now, I have some thoughts on this. I've commented a time or two on our YouTube channel about it. More than a time or two, several times. What do you think when I make that comment? What are your initial thoughts?
Okay.
About
my
that?
My initial thoughts are that's sensible logic and sensible thoughts. And anybody saying that could be right. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, and we certainly aren't the authoritative voices unless we say we are. And when we do, you better fucking believe it.
Okay.
But my sense is that even if that were true, Watts wouldn't have communicated that in the moment, because Watts like to be in charge. And I also have a personal belief that even if that were true, he wouldn't have limited himself to just that area of the business, because he's going to think he knows best about every single thing. And so even if that was his mandate and his job remit, then he was going to figure out a way to poke his bald head into other stuff.
Any other thoughts?
We did mention, I believe, last week that perhaps Dusty gets a pass in some of this, and I think that's a possible, a very possible and logical place to explore. Maybe we need to do a little bit more there. I mean, I'm willing to accept that as an explanation as well. And I do think that some of it is our frustration with how this promotion is going right now, and the possibilities that we see on the roster, and we know why he's going to get fired, and that's kind of shitty too. This is a good way to kick him in the shins for lots of stuff. And
well, it's not shitty why he gets fired. Let's be clear. That rolled off your tongue wrong. He deserved to be fired.
Right, that's
he
what
doesn't
I'm saying
get fired according to him.
We don't like what he said.
Right.
And we also, I would suggest that neither one of us, and Harper too, are a real big fan of bullies, and he's a bully. So that's another. So if we're unfair, maybe we are. I wouldn't hold my breath for it to stop.
Yeah, and again, just to be clear, screw Bill Watts, and he resigned. He claimed, well, officially, I guess he resigned. He was going to get fired if he didn't resign. Whether you believe the versions you hear out there, he was going to get fired. I mean, he was not going to stick around, and he is a bully. And I just don't have a lot of good things to say about him, especially during this era of time. Now, I think you gave some very good thoughts on that related to
I'm a thoughtful person.
If I may.
You may.
I don't totally disagree that we're too hard on him from a creative standpoint. I don't disagree also that he was brought in to lower and cut costs, because the fact of the matter is, you've heard Arn Anderson and other talents during that era talk about him being brought in to lower the cost. Here's the problem. It's one thing to come in and lower cost. It's another thing to do it at the detriment of your TV product. You are a company that is supposed to make money from not only ad revenue from your TV program, but the asses in the seats. Because at the end of the day, that was still the measure of the business back then. You got to get the people into the building. You got to get the pay-per-view buys and all that stuff. if you are cutting costs so much that you're killing your product that's on television, then your cost cutting has now crossed the line into how creative you could even be, or anyone could be, even if it's Dusty or Ole helping, whoever is assisting with creative, even if it's a committee. I'm just using those examples. At a certain point, like that, it crosses the line.
If you're stripping things for parts to save money, it's real hard to come back from that.
Yeah, like I would equate it to, like, let's say if you drive, let's say you drive a pickup truck and you're like, all right, the truck can operate without windows for what I do for a living. You know, I haul junk for a living. I don't need windows. Let me take that off. I don't need windshield wipers. It doesn't rain where I live much. I can survive without it. I can even drive without a hood on this truck. You know,
there's two ladies that we know that say that's how we live our lives.
Right.
Anyway.
I drive during the day. I never drive at night for work. I haul stuff. I can, in my truck bed, I'm going to take the headlights off. I'm just stripping things I don't need. Okay. And then you get to the point where it's like, all right, I'm going to take my truck bed off. Whoa. Hold on. You see what I'm saying? Like, you stripped so many parts that eventually you get to the point where, wait, hold on. You were a hauling business, so you needed a truck bed to put junk in or whatever in. And now you don't have a truck bed. You're not a business anymore. You're not viable. You can't even use the tool that you would have used to do the job.
So what you're saying is that he's in the cutting cost business and not the wrestling business at some point.
Well, and there's some truth to that, because I mean, Arn has said that, like, his job was to cut costs, and they incentivized him to cut the costs. They were like, he told them, don't pay me a salary. You don't have to pay me a salary. Just pay me what I save you. So you're continuously cutting costs. And I get that he wasn't the creative guy, but you made the next point that I was going to make, which was, not only is he stripping down things and cutting costs, but Bill Watts is a tyrant. Like, he's doing things the way he wants to do it. So not only is he cutting costs, do you really think he wasn't a part of the creative? No. This is Bill Watts. This man is just listen to the people that work for him. People that are respected. Arn Anderson. Like, this is not some chopped liver, just piece of shit wrestler. We're talking about one of the best talents of his time. He's like, the dude was a tyrant. He was just saving costs. It wasn't about anything else. Like, and not only that, not only is he trying to save costs, what are Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton doing as we speak right now on this
job into the Bill Watts' kid?
You think that's not a Watts decision?
Come on.
That's so, like, I don't disagree that Bill Watts' ultimate goal or ultimate job was not to cut costs. That certainly was his job. We can see that, it's evident. The problem is, he was a part of creative, whether we want to recognize it or not, along with Dusty and others. But he's cutting costs so much that he's destroying. Even if he's not doing creative, he's destroying creative, because even if he's not the creative person, what does a guy like Ole or Dusty have to work with if you're stripping the parts? Bruh, the Steiners are just about done. I mean, so like, and I know Rick is injured and Scott is, got into this argument with Watts. So, but my point is, like, that's a Bill Watts thing, and that affects the creative. And then again, Arn and Bobby, what he's doing there, like, all of these things hurt your ultimate TV product. And we've said it a million times. There's tons of talent here. So I don't disagree with the sentiment that he was brought in to lower and cut costs. and not be the creative guy. The problem is what he's doing in lowering cutting costs has ramifications throughout the creative
1,000%
that he's involved in.
Hey,
no matter
and
what you hear.
You don't have to agree with us, man. Don't get mad at us if you don't agree with us. Hey, we just had a conversation, or as close as you're going to get with us, on what y'all think out there, what we think, and hey, there's no right answer.
I got this so much that I partially agree, and I respectfully like hear people who say this. The problem is, like, it's just not a cut and dry thing. It's just not like, it's not, the proverbial black and white. There's a lot of gray area with this. Like, the decisions he makes impacts all the things you're saying he's not a part of, or we say he's not a part of. Yeah, but he's Bill Watts, dude. He is not. Do you think Bill Watts, when he's talking to Dusty, as much respect as he has for Dusty creatively, do you think Bill Watts is backing down to Dusty?
No.
When they have creative conversations? Bill Watts don't back down to nobody.
There you go. The buck stops with him, and he'll be the first to tell you.
Exactly. Just look at the top rope rule bullshit that we're dealing with. Like, the math equation, the algebraic and
that took years
equation.
Off of my life.
Exactly. So, but no, I want to say this again. Thank you for emailing that. Thank you for posting comments on YouTube about that. Thank you for the social media context about that, because I do think it is a genuinely good thought and comment that deserved a discussion about the situation. 100%.
Let's go home for the clash.
We still got an episode to talk about here, Doc.
That's
so
what I'm saying is we gotta chop this thing up and get ourselves ready, because Lord knows Harper's not going to bring much to the table. He's too busy searching the Urban Dictionary for more terms that he doesn't understand.
Dude, he is. We say it all the time.
He's having a midlife crisis over this.
I think he partially is. Not just this.
Like, when did life pass me by kind of thing. And we all have it as we get into it. But it's like, dude, you're the old guy at the club now. Let's move on.
Bruh, when I asked him that question a few weeks ago about, what did I ask him? Oh, people wanted to know what he thought about Beefcake and Beefcake's wife. And he answers, and I'm like, okay, anything else? He's like, what do you want from me? And I'm like, you see, this is what we're talking about. I'm like, and then you have to chime in and go, Harper, why does that make you angry? And his response was, it doesn't. And he's getting angry as he answers you. And I'm like, bro, you're doing it right now. And he doesn't see it. He's turned into the angry, bro. A lot of times I think me and you are the angry dudes. But it's Harper, man. We get angry, but I think we control it differently. Dude, he is like the old man that is just tired of the kids. Get off my lawn.
And he doesn't have that tie back to the kids that we do.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's got nieces and nephews, but he does not. He's not raising kids. Like, mine are 19 and 16. Yours are a little younger, obviously, but he does not have that experience. All right.
All right. Well, so we are second part of November 14th. I'm going to get us going here. We're going to pick up, I believe, in like the 55th or 56th minute of the show. This was one of those long ones again for no reason. We just heard, if you were following along sequentially, we just finished last week with Pillman cutting a really good promo, and now we're going to pick it up, I believe, with Ron Simmons. Is that correct?
Yep, we're going to pick it up with Ron Simmons, second half of November 14th, 1992. As a refresher, remember, Jake checked himself into the Betty Ford Center on November 10th. This was taped on November 11th. So the day before this was taped, Jake checked himself into Betty Ford, if you happen to miss that. But we're picking up with Ron Simmons. We're coming off that promo with Pillman. Doc, any thoughts before I jump into the promo? I'm going to play it real quick, and then we can discuss.
Let's play it.
All right, JR is about to interview Ron Simmons, and Ron Simmons is here to talk about the Ghetto Odds match that we talked about last week. Here it is.
odds as far as Ron Simmons is concerned. At least that's what he's calling it. Ron Simmons and Robbie Walker scheduled to go 2 men against 3. Cactus Jack, the Barbarian, and Tony Atlas. We've got some big things to talk to the world's heavyweight champion about, so I'd like for everybody here at center stage and all of you at home to welcome the world's heavyweight champion, Ron Simmons, to WCW Saturday.
I gotta cut it. The music. I don't want it to.
Oh no.
No. I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna start playing when he starts talking to JR. I just don't want to get a strike on the, the YouTube stuff. Here it is. I'll play the rest of it from now.
I had some hesitation there because I did expect to speak to you and Robbie Walker, but I understand under somewhat of a cloud of mystery that Robbie Walker has left the facility.
You know, Jim, 1 minute he was here and the next he was gone. He's supposed to be standing right here beside me giving this interview now. I think Cactus Jack, the Barbarian, Tony Atlas has something to do with this. But however it goes, let me tell you something like this. They've been talked into by Cactus Jack of calling this a ghetto odds match. They don't know nothing about the ghetto. Let me tell you something about the ghetto in the street. The ghetto is losing your mother at a tender age of 8 and 3 years later losing your father, fighting the crime and the drugs in the streets and going on to college to become an All-American, to become a Heisman Trophy candidate, to fight my way up in the wrestling world and be the first black man to wear this belt. Now let me tell you something. Whether it be Robbie Walker by my side or whether it be another brother, hell itself will be raised Wednesday night. Shut up doing the talking and let's get on with the fight. I can promise you that Ron Simmons will show you what the streets and the ghetto is all about.
All right, fans, the emotional heavyweight champion of the world.
What are your thoughts on the promo right there?
I thought he was great. He fired up. He's going to tell you what the ghetto is, and he was good there. He had emotion. He's like, let's fight. I don't agree that this is probably where I would have the world champ doing, but I like that Ron's doing it, if that makes sense.
I totally agree. And as much as I probably wouldn't be looking forward to the match, a ghetto odds match feels funny. Like, it's like, ghetto street fight. I can remember that back in the day, but it's just weird. Anyway, I think Ron is doing his job to get us to want to tune in. And I think that's the more important thing here to consider.
Are we going to talk about why Robbie can't show up? I mean, do we know this?
They said, Cactus and Barbarian had something to do with it.
Okay.
As part of the storyline.
All right.
So stay tuned, I guess. We'll talk about it on the Clash. Who knows? All right. Scotty Flamingo takes on Marcus Bagwell in the opening match. Or not opening match, but the first match of part 2. What'd you think of Flamingo's dancing? He was giving a little Stanfield Lane when he came to the ring. Look at him. Snake in it.
It's just, I am so confused about him. Now, first of all, you're not sharing any video with me, so I don't know what you're talking about. But
let me share. I didn't realize.
Yeah, that'd be great. Now, what I wanted to say is that a peace necklace on him, on Raven?
I think so.
He is mixing all the stereotypes that he can put together. But
look at him.
He's black. He's somewhat gay. He's for peace. He's a boxer. What are we doing?
Why do you say he's black? What makes you say that?
He's kind of got that yo baby, yo. He's doing a little PN news,
I don't know about that. Well, okay, I see why you're saying that. I see why you're saying that. Okay.
I'm going to tell you this. I wish that a match today started like the first 90 seconds of this match.
Okay, explain what you mean by that.
Just as we talk and get into it, imagine if two guys started a match like this today, what would the reaction be on the interwebs and everywhere else? Because there's nothing special. It's just, nobody super kicks at the beginning. So what if we just started a match with a tie-up, a lock-up, headlock?
Well, that's how it used to start in the old days.
Shoot him in the ropes. Oh, didn't let go there. Babyface is going to hold on.
You got to take a shot at the Young Bucks, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean they're just wrestling. I mean it's this typical old school, I guess, kind of start.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular, but yeah.
Nothing spectacular. Just
Yeah, they're wrestling. They're just running some spots, man. Hold on to the headlock takeover. I mean, there's nothing much to it, but it's basic, and that's what you need. I mean, this is the middle of the show. You can't have anybody coming out here, throwing 50 million super kicks.
So can I get
or pile driving someone?
53.
103.53? Sure.
Yeah.
We're at 103.45. What are we looking for here?
I don't know when I've seen this, but Larry liked it.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Bagwell
is in the
flipped out into the ring over Raven. Bagwell did, and Raven just walked away.
Yep.
Later in the match, Raven
that.
tries to make a tag, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, who's he trying to tag?
And I thought these two guys were working hard, working well together, and this was a solid match for, like you said, the middle of a long show. This was good.
Agree. So the finish, you got anything else before I get into it?
I'm just needing that finish.
All right. Well, Bagwell hits Flamingo with a cross body. Flamingo is begging Bagwell to not come after him. He's like, no. The old Ric Flair thing that Flair used to do sometime. Flamingo pulls some kind of gimmick out of his trunks because, hey, he's a heel, and that's what we do. He nails Bagwell and then pins him. I thought Pee Wee saw it, but I guess he didn't. The Pee Wee back wasn't turned. Anyway, Johnny B. Bad, who's in this feud with Flamingo now, and they're having their war of words leading up to the clash. He runs in with boxing gloves and wants to fight Flamingo with the boxing gloves, since that's what's going to happen at the clash. Bad even has a second set of boxing gloves that he throws at Flamingo's feet to put the gloves on, but Flamingo doesn't put them on, and Bad drop kicks Flamingo out of the ring, and Flamingo hits the ring steps. I thought this was pretty good. Look, I said this last week. I think whether you agree with the booking or not, I think they're doing a good job of actually making the clash coming up that will be on Patreon tomorrow make sense, because we've like heated things up over the last week and this week to make the matches we'll see at the clash make sense. At least that's my opinion. Any other thoughts on the finish there?
I agree. We need some things. Things have needed to be heated up. So, especially after Havoc. So, yes.
Yeah. Because that was not really good stuff. But, all right. On that note, Johnny B. Bad is cutting a promo here. So, let's see what he's got to say following him coming in trying to throw hands with Flamingo, who didn't want any part of him after his match. Here it is.
All right, Larry, thanks very much. It didn't look like you wanted to wait until this Wednesday night.
Oh, hush, Jim Ross. I'll tell you right now, there's been a travesty of justice here at World Championship Wrestling. Last week on national TV, Scotty Flamingo came out here and knocked me out with a roll of quarters. And I'll tell you something. We got 3 rounds of boxing scheduled for the Clash of Champions this Wednesday night. And I'm telling you right now you're treading in uncharted waters. I'm a 5-time New York State Golden Glove champion. I'm on the U.S. boxing team. I'll tell you, I've never been knocked out like that, Jim, before. And I'll tell you right now, you better get a good seat, because Johnny B's going to turn up the heat at the Clash of Champions. Scotty Flamingo, Lord have mercy. It's going to be a blessing to teach you a lesson.
And they'll be in his hometown of Macon, Georgia, Wednesday night. And we'll be back, fans, with more right after this timeout.
See, I like that. It's 1 minute long leading up to the Clash. Have you seen their match at the Clash? Don't tell me what happens. I have not. Oh, my God. I can't wait. Okay, I won't say anything, but I feel like you're going to come unglued during it. Not in a bad way.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I'll say. Any thoughts on the promo, though?
It was decent, yeah. I mean, he's kind of hemmed in on what he can and can't say character-wise, but, I like that it'll be a blessing to teach you a lesson. I like that.
From there, we go to Larry Zbyszko throws to what they call a public workout in the ring of Paulie as he gets ready for his match Wednesday night at the Clash versus Medusa. Paul Lee is decked out in Yankees gear as he comes to the ring with taped fist, and boy, he just looks like he doesn't have, well, we know he doesn't, but he does not have an athletic bone in his body. Any thoughts on this before I go to the promo as he's coming out for his workout?
You've summed it up well.
All right, let's go to Paul Lee's promo to see what he's got to say. Remember, he's going to have a match with Medusa. Here's Paul Lee.
You can stop the music now because I said so. I am not a wrestler. I am not an athlete. I am not even a fighter. What I am is a man capable of teaching any woman on the face of this planet what manhood is all about. And this Wednesday, under the guidance of Arn Anderson, under the guidance of Bob Eaton, under the guidance of Stunning Steve, and with the premier strategy of Michael P.S. Hayes, I am going to show everybody what a real man's all about. Now, Michael, tell me something. We have hired Mike Thor for this. What are the rules in this exhibition sparring match tonight right here on WCW?
Okay, first of all, we really appreciate your participation, Mike. Thanks a lot. Now, I want to clarify things that we are not going to do out here. We're not going to lose our temper, especially you.
Okay.
All right, and I don't want, no hair pulling.
Okay.
What? Easy. No. I just want to show you things that we're not going to do. No pulling the hair. Now, also, we're not going to have no shin kicking.
No.
What? Hey, no, we're just, relax. Hey, Mike, it's an exhibition. It's a workout, okay? We're just demonstrating. These are stuff we're not going to do because nobody's going to lose their temper. It's an exhibition. Now, one more thing. I don't want any, and I mean any forearms, Paulie. Hey. Easy. Hey, whoa, hey.
Hey, Mike, I'm paying you for this. Mike, I'm paying you for this. Easy. Mike, easy. I'm paying you. Hey, I think I'm ready. What I want to do right now is just Medusa, if you're watching, baby, so that you see what a real man's all about.
Oh, get it. Oh, yeah, get it. Rocky.
I want to show you.
Oh, do it.
A real man is all about. I'm going to show you. Thank you very much.
Look what you did! Yes, Polly, the big one, baby! The big one! Boom! Yes! Pin him!
Oh, I won! I am a real man! Thank you! I'll show you this Wednesday night what a real man's all about.
Great, Polly.
Where's my water? I'm thirsty.
Get your water.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
All right, you got any thoughts on?
I mean, this is old school wrestling. They're out there beating up on Thor. They're getting Paulie over. Thor kind of looks like Eaton out there with his hair back. I don't know what this does to position Rick Rude with the Dangerous Alliance, but I don't think we're worried about that, I guess. Airtight, right?
Yeah, everything's airtight, brother.
Okay. I mean, they've
Some
earned
continuity issues there for sure.
Sure. They've earned the right to see where this goes, no matter how silly it is, because they were the best thing on the Havoc.
Yeah, I agree. So, just for the record, the Thor is the whipping boy for the Dangerous Alliance out there, and the whole training thing is a farce. What you didn't see, again, you can become a patron and see at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Paulie punched Thor. Thor didn't budge, and then Austin knocks him out right after Paulie hits him. So when Paulie turns around, he sees Thor knocked out. Bobby Eaton is actually tremendous right there. He's like, "See what you did, Paulie? See what you did?" Paul thinks he knocked Thor out. He didn't knock Thor out. Austin did. So they're getting him ready, supposedly, to face Medusa. I thought this was funny. It kind of reminded me of the Horsemen. They had that training session with JJ when they were getting him ready for War Games back in the 80s. There was a episode in 86 or 87. I don't remember the exact one. This kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But anyway,
okay.
I thought it was good. So we continue to heat things up. And now we're going to go to Medusa, who sat there and watched this, and she's with JR. Here that is.
Hey, Medusa, and I know that you're ready for this Wednesday, quite obviously.
This Wednesday, there is something disgusting about this picture. I am appalled that WCW would have such a boy in this federation. I am sick. I am so sick of Paulie Dangerously. You know, you have begged me to be director of covert operations. I am the didactic one of this operation. You don't even have a clue.
I got a clue about one thing.
I think you saw what a real man's all about. I think you realize that you're a woman. You can't compete with athletes like Arn Anderson, Bob Eaton, Steve Austin, Michael Hayes, or myself. I'll give you this chance to back out Wednesday night.
I'm not backing out. You're the one that wanted this, and I'll show you what a real athlete is about.
What? I'm giving you this one chance. Take it or leave it. You're backing out, yes or no?
I'm not backing out. You got another thing coming.
You know what, Deuce? If I got something coming, why don't you give it to me right now? You know why you won't? Because you're a woman, and I'm a man. Ain't that right, guys, huh? You know what you'll give me? The same thing you'll give me Wednesday. Nothing! Not one thing. You know why? Because you are nothing. Because you're a woman. The definition of a nothing. You dig that, Medusa? But you know what, baby? It's not your fault. It's okay. I got her. It's not your fault.
It's a little strong.
It's not your fault that you're so stupid that you think you can take on a real man like Paulie Dangerously. It's not your fault that you're so ignorant you think you can beat up a man. It's not your fault you're that stupid. It's genetics. You were born stupid. You're just a woman. But I am a man. My father's pride and joy. Unlike you. Daddy's disappointment. Because we all know that your father wanted a boy, wanted a man for a son. And he almost got one, didn't he? But not quite. Now I know what you're thinking, Medusa. You're looking at my face, and you're trying to decide, should I kick him or should I kiss him? Because you know that you've always wanted a real man like Paulie Dangerously. How many nights did you call me from Rick Rude's room saying, Paulie, I want to be with a real man like you, but you will never have me. You will never have a real man like Paulie Dangerously, because I wouldn't lower myself to be with something like you, a woman, nothing but a woman, because I hate your filthy, stupid gut. You hear me? What are you going to do? Nothing. But if you take one step towards me, we'll stomp your butt. You got me. We will not tolerate this. Ain't that right?
That's right. Who, Paulie? Who knows? You low-life son of a truth.
Oh, they've left him. Here goes Medusa. Chasing Paulie. Paulie's over the rail. Medusa in the evening gown. They go up through the crowd. They're going out on Peachtree. They're going out on Peachtree. Medusa's chasing Paulie. Oh, fans, what a situation. It will be Wednesday night. What a fight. Medusa's ready. We'll get a report on this when we come back, and we will be back. After this, don't you go away.
I thought this was great. What did you think?
It was a little creepy.
It's a little bit, because
I'm not a huge fan of intergender physicalities to begin with, then, now, forever. But I don't know that Paul qualifies here. Paul kind of says, like, you can't get with me because you're just a woman, which I think he misspoke there. Yeah, that was, I mean, he told her she was born stupid.
I mean, like, this is, if they would have done a segment like this now, well, first off, a segment like this now probably doesn't get done because it was really stiff on females. I mean, it was like he's ratcheted up talking about how dumb she is just because she was born.
But this
a
is their
woman.
chance. I mean, these two aren't going to get the chance to be in the spotlight that much, so they're going for it.
Well, and the other part is they stole the show, as Watts said at Halloween Havoc 92, and he said some very un-Catholic things and not nice things about both of them on that show that you can listen to at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. They're ratcheting it up here some more. I mean, because Medusa says, you begged me to be a part of the Dangerous Alliance, and that's when Paul comes down and confronts her, and he's like, you just need to back out, and Paul, he just runs her down. And the other part of it, he's not only saying you're dumb because you're a woman, which again, they're not going to do that. They're not going to make this nowadays, is the disrespectfulness of throwing the water into her face.
Yeah, that's the part that was like, whoa.
I mean, like, it's probably gets glossed over as we talk about this, or most people would watch it and you can't see it unless you're watching the video version with us. But I mean, he just throws a glass of water. He doesn't throw the glass, but the water comes out and just splashes her in the face. And I got to give a hat tip to Medusa here. So for the record, they don't have heat in real life. Like, they're good friends. Medusa's words. Never heard Paul talk about it, but Medusa says they're still good friends to this day and they talk. Medusa chases him in these high heels when she goes after him. And bruh, she don't miss a beat. Like, I was like, good God, you're running in heels. She runs to the ring, in the ring, slides out the ring, hops the barricade. The heels never leave her feet. I'm probably a little bit too fascinated by that. I don't have foot fetishes. I'm just saying she chased him down in heels and didn't miss one stride. It was pretty amazing to see her do that. So that was my last note, but that was stiff. That was very, very stiff from them. But it is the angle, and they're building up to their match. So what can you do, right? It is what it is.
Let's see it at the Clash.
Any other thoughts before we continue?
Let's do it.
So we got one last thing. I want y'all to hear Larry Zbyszko here and what he says about this, because I think this is important to the match and the feud between Medusa and Paulie.
WCW Saturday Night fans are still talking about what we've just seen, Larry.
Well, I tell you something, I'm a male chauvinist pig. I'll be the first one to admit it. This is the first time I'm glad to see a woman step out from behind a sink, and Medusa's the woman that's going to kick Paulie's butt all over the Clash of the Champions, and I can't wait to see it. I hate him.
By now, they're about 285 on the north side of town, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I think that even makes it more impactful because, like, Larry flat out admits, I'm a male pig, but I can't wait to see Medusa kick his ass. Right. He's like, look, it's kind of funny. It's like, he knows he's wrong, but he's got his limits when it comes to demeaning women. And I guess that's...
Don't we all?
I'm going to let you hang yourself on that one, not me.
Okay.
Any closing thoughts as we're moving forward?
Let's move forward.
So I wasn't going to play this unless you want me to, but JR throws to a Shivani backstage segment with Harley Race and Vader, and Harley is really pissed off at Watts, and I think Harley's got a point. Evidently, Watts has banned Harley from ringside for his match in the King of Cable tournament that's coming up, and I don't know. I think Harley's got a point. Like, why is Harley banned from being with Vader? He's his manager. Has he done something? Well, that's not fair. He's done a lot of unscrupulous things, but it just seems a little like Watts is being a tyrant here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's a manager. If he has a manager's license, I mean, what's he done to be banned?
And for the record, there is a such thing as a manager's license. I know for a fact in Louisiana, because when you get licensed to wrestle, you can either be You have to have a promoter's license down there. If you're going to manage someone, you have to have a manager's license. And if you're a wrestler, you have to have a wrestler's license. There's a yearly license. So I'm with you, Doc. Now that was Louisiana. This is in Georgia. I'm just trying to make a point. When you say manager's license, that actually does exist. So anyway, I kind of am with you on that. Did you have any other thoughts on the promo, though?
Mm-mm.
From there, we go to Kensuke Sasaki versus Bobby Eaton with Michael Hayes. JR reminds us that Paulie has put a bounty on the head of Eric Watts. So in all the midst of stuff going on with Medusa and Paulie, let's not forget that Paulie also has a bounty on the head of Eric Watts. I don't know what the hell Michael Hayes is wearing, but let me go to you and see if you have anything from this match.
Time to bury Bobby Eaton. Sweet.
Like clockwork, based on our discussion at the opening of the show, that if you're only listening to the video version of this, you got to go back and listen to that segment that we talked about on Watts cost cutting and not being the head of creative.
Well, and my whole thing is I got no problem building Sasaki up. How are we doing it?
Oh, well, that is a clear answer. We are sending out Bobby Eaton and Arn Anderson to job to anyone and everyone we feel like. There's that. Okay.
Yeah. So as we're going through this match, I realized I like Larry on commentary, but I prefer a heel, and I think we have better ones here like Cactus and Jake and Pillman. Now, Jake's gone, but I like what those three are bringing to the table lately.
The problem is Cactus and Pillman are actively wrestling. Larry is not at this point. But I do agree, Larry, I loved Larry when he did Nitro. I thought Larry was always really good. The New World Order. Remember when he said that?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
But Larry's good. Okay. Any other thoughts on that? They don't work too long, but any other thoughts?
No, it doesn't go too long, but if I'm Arn and Bobby, I'm like, what is Michael Hayes adding to this thing? He ain't helpful. Now, Arn comes in and he is helpful, and I know you're going to describe this here for the people, but Arn gets things done.
And to be fair, Arn did say that. Why are we adding? He's like, I don't have anything against Hayes, but why did we add him to this? What's going on here? So, yeah, you got a point. All right, so the finish. Sasaki hits Bobby with a lariat. Hayes gets on the apron and interrupts the pin. Sasaki he sends Eaton into Hayes, and they bump. Bobby gets rolled up but kicks out. Sasaki hits his finisher, but Hayes interrupts it again. So Bobby is being pinned, but the ref is distracted. Arn comes in and attacks Sasaki and hits him with a DDT. Arn is then putting the boots to Sasaki. A bunch of faces hit the ring to chase away the heels, and we go to commercial. In fairness, Bobby loses, but it is DQ, not a clean pin. So that's probably fine. I think we're just more jaded by the fact that Bobby and Arn have been treated like crap now for a very long time. Fair enough or no?
That's probably fair. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have high hopes for this at the Clash.
All right. Continuing along then. Tony Atlas in the next match takes on Van Vader in the King of Cable matchup. Cactus is not allowed to be out there with Tony and Atlas, and Harley cannot be out there at ringside with Vader. I thought Vader kind of got a babyface reaction of sorts when he came out. And then my only other note was Tony Atlas in 1992 is still a very large man. And Larry Zbyszko on commentary says Atlas looks small.
I disagreed with
next
that.
to Vader. Me too. Go ahead. You said you disagree. I totally disagree, but continue.
I had that as a note, and I was like, I thought Atlas looked tall and sizable next to Vader. I mean, he's not as big as Vader, but who the fuck is? I thought Atlas represented himself well from that perspective. So I didn't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I don't know what Larry's looking at. Vader is bigger in terms of girth and size, but Atlas is nose to nose with him essentially, and Atlas is more cut, not as cut as we've seen him in previous years. Obviously, he's getting older, But I don't know what Vader. I don't know what. I mean, maybe Larry's just trying to talk it up for the commentary. But I'm with you. It wasn't like there was a big size discrepancy, especially height wise.
And maybe if there is, to offset that, Tony should offer to suck Vader's toes and get him off his game.
Tony's
got a foot fetish.
Oh, I'm like, why are you talking about Tony Schiavone? I got you. I didn't tie the two together. Okay, that's funny. Ha ha.
Ha ha.
Continue. All right. This is a short match.
I wanted
Very
to say,
short.
I got one timestamp here, 1:31:07. I thought Tony.
It's getting to the finish, so go ahead.
Yeah, Tony looked real awkward at first, but there. So he whips him the rope and he looks awkward, but then Tony looks super strong here with what he almost does with Vader. This is an interesting sequence. Shoots him across. He went slow into those ropes.
Yeah, he did.
But look, he caught him on the splash.
Yeah. I mean, Vader's helping him. He's holding on to the ropes. You know how you say right there how Tony doesn't go into the ropes? I've said this before about Vader. Vader would look, he's Vader. I'm not criticizing him. But when he shoots a guy off, he does not follow him. And what I mean by that is watch where he releases him.
Way back on the other side.
He doesn't even take a step out. I was always taught.
So that means Atlas has further to go, right?
He's not only got a little further to go, but we were always told that looks unrealistic. Because, like, I mean, there's guys, they would come out all the way to the middle of the ring. Like, he's in the corner. He'd take 2 steps before he releases him. Okay. Now Atlas is cooperating, but I can see why Tony's like, God, you really supposed to believe you can throw 300-pound me across the ring like this? I mean, I know you're a big dude, but so am I. And see how Atlas just has a longer way to go? It just doesn't look good. Now, but Atlas does catch it when he comes in for that splash. Anyway, I agree with you. I didn't think it looked all that great.
Okay.
So the finish. Any other thoughts?
No, it was pretty quick.
Vader hits a short arm lariat, and then Vader comes off the second rope with a splash and hits Atlas. Vader then pins Atlas for the win, and Vader will get the winner of Rhodes and Barbarian in the King of Cable tournament. And that was that. From there, we go to Barry Windham. Doc, unless you want me to play it, let me know. It's pretty meat and potatoes from Barry Windham here. Did you have anything from it?
It was meat and potatoes. Yes, that was my note. This was meat and potatoes until
what?
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us what happens next during that promo.
Oh, well, gotcha. Well, I wasn't going to play it. Barry's just talking about the match upcoming, Dustin's match coming up. What am I missing in this promo? I'm confused.
Barbarian comes in and attacks.
Well, yeah, right. But that's not in this promo. It's in the Dustin promo.
But the Wyndham pro. Okay, so I had the notes written down differently than you did. The Wyndham promo segues into the Dustin promo, and then that's what happens. So we're saying the same thing, brother. We're just a little bit off. We need to true up our connection, if you know what I mean. We need to get synced up on the same page for the listeners.
Well, no, you were saying Barbarian comes in. I'm like, wait, Barbarian's not about to come in with Barry. Barry cuts this promo and about Dustin's
I didn't have
match.
anything from Barry. Dustin is the one that's going to get whooped on.
Yeah, so then they throw to Teddy Long, who's backstage with Dustin, and he's backstage with Dustin, about to be interviewed, and Cactus Jack attacks Barry during the interview, and Jim Ross says, we're getting some medical attention from Dustin as Dustin gets attacked. And I like this because Dustin's about to have a match, and what's going to happen now? Because he's got to fight Barbarian. At the same time, Devil's Advocate side of me goes, is Bill Watts going to fine him for this? Because
the fine.
Everything was airtight, brother. What's Bill Watts going to do for this man just heinously attacking Dustin here? I don't know. I just thought something to that. We
need some resolution on that.
Exactly. So then we go to another promo from Cactus, who's now with JR. This is after he come back from commercial. And Cactus says, gosh darn it, Jim, seems like Dustin stumbled and fell and hasn't made it up.
I thought that was good.
Like, just give the match to Barbarian.
Darn the luck. He says, darn the luck. There's been a little accident.
Yeah, let me play it here. This is the beginning of it.
Back there.
Darn the luck. Gosh darn it, Jim. There's been a little accident backstage. Seems like Dustin Rhodes stumbled, fell, and he hasn't quite made it up. So why don't you just solve all this and award the Barbarian this King of Cable by forfeit? Give it to him. Give it to him.
Oh, I've just been...
Gosh darn it, Jim. I thought that was good. It's the heel thing to do. Yeah, it's
of course.
He stumbled and fell and he hasn't made it up yet. Gosh darn it.
What's happened here?
We literally just saw you on national TV attack the man.
Right.
That's what made it great. All right, so we go to commercial, come back. Jim Ross and Larry Zbyszko talk about what happened, but it appears Dustin is getting the medical attention he needs, and he's going to be able to compete in the match. From there, we do go to the match, Dustin versus Barbarian, another King of Cable match. Let me throw to you. I mean, we ain't got a ton of TV time left as we go to this, and Dustin is banged up, but he is going to wrestle. What did you think about how they did this match?
Well, first of all, I like it because we've been sleepwalking through these shows. Let's heat some shit up again. And so from that perspective, I like it. I think Dustin, and they talk about this in the match. At one point, I don't have the time to. Dustin does a really impressive lariat. And they're like, hey, I mean, Wyndham throws one, but he's not the only one in that tag team that does it. And I was like, that's correct. So that was good. 139.05. Barbarian catches Dustin.
I'm going to it.
Okay.
Right here when he catches him coming off the second rope. Power slam.
I mean, he's going with him and all, but you got to have timing and strength on that, right?
Well, yeah, you got to be able to withstand that initial, like, when he comes down, I mean, you still got to be a strong bastard to be able to, like, because there's a lot of torque being put on your body, just
Correct.
In general.
My back would never be the same if I tried to do that with anyone.
Yeah, you have to still be, I mean, Dustin's coming off the second rope. I paused it on the video version. You can see it. Barbarian's getting ready to catch him. So he's going to go with the momentum, but you still have to be a strong son of a gun to be able to take that catch
and make it look
twist.
Good.
Yeah, because, I mean, like his left leg, when he catches him right there's a lot of torque on that knee. Like, it's not easy. That could end bad if you're not well-versed in the ring and know what you're doing. Oh, and by the way, that mat isn't still. Like, it's moving and bouncing when you catch the guy. So there's a lot of variables here when he catches Dustin coming off with that power slam, and it looked great, so credit to them.
So a lot of this match is Dustin's been injured before the match, so should we even be having this? And should we stop it? And then we get to the finish.
Yeah, Barbarian dominates Dustin. He just batters him. And Dustin does try to fight back, but he's battling a fresh man in a kayfabe way, Barbarian, and he just got attacked by Cactus, so it's not a fair fight at all. And Dustin is really paying the price of that attack throughout this thing, and he just can't get the upper hand. But we will go to the finish here. So, again, after being just completely dominated and battered and bruised all match, Barbarian sends Dustin into the turnbuckle. Barbarian follows him in, but Dustin moves and Barbarian hits the post. Dustin then rolls him up for the surprise win. 1, 2, 3 after Barbarian dominated this thing. Barbarian is going to lose and Dustin moves on. And I think it's Dustin versus Vader in the King of Cable match. I got no problem with the way they did this. I thought this was really well done. Your thoughts?
I do too, because it's building Dustin up, and it doesn't hurt Barbarian, I guess. I don't think that matters. And if we're gonna do this damn King of Cable thing, we got to do something. Here's the problem with tournaments: good talent has to lose.
Yeah, that's always been my thing with tournaments too. It's like you kind of got to clean finish things in tournaments, and sometimes good talent has to lose. But you know, this will culminate at Starrcade. I think I've said that before. I won't spoil who ends up being at. But anyway, that is essentially just about how they go off air. Jim Ross and Larry Zbyszko are going to close the show. Before we do that, though, remember we have a Clash to review where we will see a lot of the matches that have been built up over this edition. And again, I want to give credit. They really did a good job November 14th of kind of sending us home to a Clash, because you and I both know, and Harper does too, although not here, we haven't seen that a lot of times in these, we'll call them Clash go-home shows. Sometimes it's just kind of stuff thrown together, and I think that is not what happened here, and I really like that about November 14th. But the only way you can listen to our Clash is by going to tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. You not only will get the Clash, you'll get the previous 20 Clashes we've done, all the WCW pay-per-views we've done through 92, all the way back to 85, 86, 87. Additionally, you'll get the World Class cast with myself and Lance, the Legacy cast, which is the current NWA product with Sparks and Little Fella, and the ECW Extreme Live cast with Mike Prue, JV, Rick Beebe from the JV Goon Squad, Tales from the Territories reviews, Dark Side of the Ring reviews, and so much more available on Patreon, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Don't wait, do it, and enjoy. 400 plus exclusive shows are there for you. Doc, time to rate it. Hand out a Toot Toot Award. I think we gave out a mini award last week, but let's see what we're giving out this week. What are you going to give this one?
For the whole episode, right?
Yeah, I think that's the fair way to do it, even though we gave out a mini Toot Toot last week.
Again, they don't always do this well, so they did do it well, and I think we need to recognize that. As such, I will say give B+ on the whole episode. Too long.
I give it an A- overall.
I thought about it, and maybe I should have, but I'm going to stay with the B+ because I started there. But it might need an A-. We don't know.
Look, we kick them in their shins when they do dumb stuff, and when they do stuff that makes sense, we don't kick them in the shins and we give them credit. And I just really think, you know, whether you end up agreeing with how they booked it or how it ends up at the Clash is another story. But I think from the standpoint of like trying to get people excited about a Clash that's going to be on, I don't know if they could have done it any better, like to send it into that show. They made what they're presenting at the Clash make sense here. Is it perfect? No, but I've been hard on them when they don't do things like this, so I got to be fair. They did it, so A-. Who are you giving your Toot Toot Award to?
I'm going to go with where I was last week and say Sting for his coming out, getting in Rick Rude's face, calling him a dick, making things happen. That was really good from him.
Yeah, I think you're on to something. I'm going to give mine to Sting as well.
So remember, whenever people say y'all are unfair to Sting, maybe I am, but I'm also willing to deliver some flowers when it's needed.
It's called calling it down the middle.
It's an important aspect of this show. It's one of our corporate values.
But we don't have, we have values.
If we were a corporation and we had values, that would be one of them.
I mean, we have values. I don't know about corporate speak and corporate values, but we definitely have website? Humanity values. Well, we're the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast, but that doesn't mean we don't have values. We do have values. Leave children alone.
But if they're not on our website, how do we know they're real?
Okay, because we live by them. We don't just have to. Bro, I hate that. People who proclaim they're just great human beings on their websites, and it's like, okay, how are you living your life?
Maybe we should get
worried about that.
Maybe we should get tattoos on our inner wrist to remind us of what we think.
It's funny. I just had this talk with my daughter this morning because she was telling me some stuff about some bullies at school who are being dealt with by administration, and we were talking about and then she was talking about people who act like they're holier than thou but are like terrible human beings. overly like religious, and how this person's being really mean to the rest of some of her classmates, and I'm like, that sounds about right. You know, I'm not knocking religion. I'm just saying, like, you know, the most judgmental person is being the most mean. You know, I'm holier than thou. I love God and Jesus and treat people well, but the main ones who treat people like crap. Just saying.
That's a good life lesson she's getting. It'll prepare her well for the rest of her life.
Yeah. So, you know, we got morals. You know, don't be like Grizzly Smith. Leave children alone. I mean, you know, leave the puppies and the animals alone. They deserve a spot on this planet too. Don't be an animal abuser. Like we got morals, right? We're not crazy.
They're in there somewhere. They're in there somewhere, sure.
Yeah, that's not all of them, but those are some of them. But we don't proclaim them on a website. I mean, I don't need no. Mm-mm.
Maybe we should do that.
No, maybe you should just live your life like a good person.
I mean, if I didn't have a sign here in the house, how would I remember to live, laugh, and love?
Right.
I need to remind myself as I'm going through my daily journey in this season of life about what's important to me.
I think my wife took it down, but we used to have a sign in the living room that said home. And I'm like, what is this shit? Yeah, at one point. I think she took it down. I was like,
do you get confused?
I used to look at it and go, why? Like, what problem are we, you know that statement you always make? Mikey and DFW loves this. What problem are we trying to solve here?
Yeah. And that's always a good place to come back to and to recenter the bullshit in your life. And it's like, so are we confused about where we are? And boy, let me tell you something.
Right.
That kind of common sense question will get you nuclear heat with your significant other, by the way, who is real proud. Like, you're looking at it with disgust. Like, what the fuck is this? They're hitting an RBD post because they're like, took a picture of it and sent it to their friends. And look what I just got. And isn't that great? No, girlfriend, that really sets off the entire room. And you're looking at it like it's dripping with feces. Like, I can't believe, like, you're looking at it going, whatever this bitch just spent on this is now the reason I'm never going to be able to retire. And she's sure that she's on her way to the Wife Hall of Fame.
For an item that will either be given away or be in the trash within 2 years.
I got tired of looking at it. That's what happened.
Right. That's the next part. That's the trend. That's why I said the sign is no longer in the living room, because she got tired of it. I actually think it's in the garage now that I think about it.
What's wrong with that? Don't you ever get tired? Don't you ever get tired of things, Mike?
I do, but that's why I don't spend money on things I'll get tired of, generally speaking.
Right.
Especially decorations. Women have a real problem, man. We've had this discussion before.
Oh, you sound like Paul Heyman now.
Married, our wives. I don't want to generalize, but
don't speak for my wife. You keep her out of this. You talk about your house.
Where there's a meme and it's a dude and his TV sitting on the floor of his apartment, and there's a lawn chair, and he's got his PlayStation hooked up to the TV in a lawn chair, and he's got a TV tray table where he puts his drink or his, whenever he's eating, and there's women commenting on it going, dudes will live like this and see no problem with it. And it's the simplicity of it. It's like, it's all that person needs, but yet you have to comment on it because it doesn't fit what you think is needed. And like, that dude's living in peace, but you have a problem with it. It's amazing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to let you hang out there on that one.
You agree.
I don't know what I agree with, man.
I've showed that meme to my wife before, and she's like, that's just ridiculous. How can someone live like that? I was like, easily. They go to work, they come home, they play their PlayStation, and they have a simple life. They've saved a couple $100, if not $1,000 on living room furniture that they don't need. And that just blows their minds. All right, I think we filibustered long enough there, so we rated it and we handed out the Rolex. Remember, the only way you can listen to our clash that will drop tomorrow night as of this airing is by going to tinyurl.com/Patreon BTT. It is the best way to support the show. You will get tons of extra content. Harper is supposed to be there. I say supposed to because you just never know with him. He might, get angry and cut a promo on a listener. Who knows what Harper's going to do. But anyway, tinyurl.com/Patreon BTT. You can listen to Clash of the Champions 21 that's coming up. All right, Doc, any other thoughts before we get out of here?
We got to go.
Amen. So why don't you do us all a favor, hit the tagline, and let us roll.
Book it, bitch.
No yeet, no cap, bussin' for real?
No cap, bussin' for real, yeet, yeet, skibby, reet, yeet, riz, book it, bitch.